Grab your glasses, everybody. It's time for a Moonshine Safari.
All right, welcome to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And you have stumbled across episode 15 of our podcast, Moonshine Safari.
Wow.
And we welcome you with open arms. And with those open arms, we would like to tell you about a couple of places that you can also go to find out more about what we do here at Moonshine Safari. Dina, what are a couple places that they can go?
Well, almost anywhere that you can think of. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, and we actually have a website that's actually just moonshinesafari.com. Very easy to find.
Have a YouTube? I think you said
Yep.
Okay, YouTube.
I don't know if I said that. Patreon.
Patreon.
I've been meaning to get our Gab account going, and I just haven't quite done it yet. So another social media platform there.
Okay.
But like I said, anywhere you can think of, you can find us.
Yeah, and all of those places too. If you just go to moonshinesafari.com, all those places you can connect with us there. We also post our podcasts. So any of the podcasts you haven't heard and you want to catch up on, please do that. You can subscribe to our YouTube channels and our SoundCloud and all of
Follow
that
us
too,
on
which is great.
Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram. That would be helpful. So we keep up to date with all the things we have going on here. All right. Well, this is the part of the show we like to do shout outs and things. And one of the things I'm going to do a shout out for is we've got a concert coming up, Dina, this week.
We've been looking forward to this one.
Yes, at the Musical Instrument Museum in the Phoenix area. Billy Strings.
Billy Strings.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be exciting.
So young.
Can't wait.
So talented.
Oh man, can't wait to tell you guys about it next week. We'll probably feature that in our music part next week. But we'll tell you about how the concert went and everything. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that. We think it's going to be a great time. All right.
I think it's going to be awesome. Sorry.
We were just both looking at each other like, okay, are you done? Are you done? Okay, that was funny. All right, coming up, what is Josh and what is Dina listening to? All right, stay tuned.
What's Josh listening to?
All right, welcome back, everybody. It seems like today's show is going to be kind of disjointed, I guess you could say, kind of like here and there.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a disjointed day.
It has been a disjointed day. So this portion of our podcast is what is Josh and Dina listening to? And we're actually been listening to the same thing. I stumbled across this group. As most of you know, I play guitar and do some things, and I was looking at how to play the intro part of Man of Constant Sorrow. And I was looking for the video maybe Dan Tyminski was showing, and I could watch his hands. And when I went to YouTube to do that, and I put in Man of Constant Sorrow and it pop up, and this video popped up at the top. It was like a sponsored video, and this group called Home Free. Okay, and they do a cover of Man of Constant Sorrow. I would suggest right now, pause the podcast. Okay. But only pause it if you promise you'll come back only after you listen to that song one time. Okay? Then come back here, because now you got to listen to me now. Oh, you can only listen to it one time, and then you have to come back to the podcast. And after the podcast is over, then you can go and listen to it as many times as you want. But right now, only listen to it one time. And that's going to be very difficult, and that's a challenge to you because it is a very good song. Okay? In my opinion.
It's a great cover. And not only that, but that's not the only thing they do. They do a lot of covers of a lot of songs that you wouldn't necessarily think. I mean, it's an all a cappella group.
Mm-hmm.
And they do All About That Bass, the Meghan Trainor single, and they
do a medley. They do a medley of a lot of things. Justin Bieber,
Disney stuff,
and yeah, so they do a lot of things. Go to their YouTube channel and check them out. Amazing, sound amazing. That and their Elvira that they do with the Oak Ridge Boys.
With the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh man, that it is just it's fun to watch. They do some Garth Brooks. They do a lot of country stuff. They do some gospel stuff. They do modern stuff. They're a really cool group, and I didn't realize, never heard of them, and they've been around for a while. So check them out. They have stuff on Amazon Music.
Definitely
I'm sure they
worth
have it on
listening
Tidal
to.
and everything else. So yeah, Home Free is the
Everybody
group.
can find some song that they like that they do.
And if you like acapella stuff, and we really do,
I
and the
really
harmonies
do.
and stuff, that is so fun to listen to and try and sing along to. Yeah, check them out. So Home Free, that's what we've been listening to this week. Check them out. Oh, and by the way, with all this music stuff that we also are promoting, we don't get any monies or anything from anybody.
This truly is just
This is
letting
our
you know what
opinions.
we're listening to.
Yeah, there's our opinions. And you know what? I'll tell you guys this. If we ever get sponsored, you'll know what we're sponsored by. I'm going to be up front and just say, hey, this is sponsored by so-and-so. That's the way we do things around here. But guess what? We're sponsored by ourselves, so we can say what we want. All right, coming up, we're going to be at the Funny of the Week. We're going to tickle your funny bone. Hang to. Hey, Dana, I've heard people say that you just cannot live without love.
Well, I don't know. I still think oxygen ranks higher.
It's time for Peeve of the Week.
Oh, that was funny. Okay. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Moonshine Safari. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And just so you guys know, I'm having a little beverage today. I'm having some Gentleman Jack and Coke. Dina is abstaining at the moment.
I'm beverageless.
She didn't want it. So she doesn't like
I am really
Gentleman Jack, but
not a
I don't know
straight
why.
whiskey fan like that.
it's a shame, but it's so delicious. That's okay. There's more for me. And yeah, they went on a Moonshine Safari and scored big today. All right, so Peeve of the Week. I'm taking Peeve of the Week.
Are you taking it?
Yes, I am. I think we talked about this before. We have 4 dogs and a lousy cat. We have a lab and we have 3 little yippy dogs. We have a little black Maltipoo named Hoochie. And this little dog, she's cute. She's she's gonna be 13 in November.
Yes, 13.
She's gonna be 13, and she acts like a puppy. But as the fall has come and we've getting our grass in the backyard ready for the winter rye and things like that, this dog loves to go and roll around wherever the dead grass is. She wants to go roll around, and her fur is like.
It's a little like Velcro.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, Velcro. And she likes just to bring in the whole yard. She'll roll around out there, come in here, roll around in here, get up on the bed, roll around on the bed, and I don't know how many times.
There's just grass everywhere.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how many times this past week. Oh, it's just. I don't mind little puppy wet prints on the floors, and we have like wooden tile, and I don't care about that. I cannot stand walking on grass. I can't stand grass in the house. It just drives me nuts. And I know the dogs just doing, but let me just tell you, those of you who have dogs, you kind of know when you look at them and they look at you and they know they did that wrong. They wasn't supposed to be doing that.
No, they're smart, and it's really like a child. It's like she's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, it's like it's just a test of wills at the moment. So she's had to go to doggy prison a couple times, but then I'm the one that always goes in there and I dust her off and I talk to her and I say, look, stop doing that. I don't want to put you in doggy prison anymore. I don't want you to have to do this, but I don't want to have to mess with the grass either. So now I have to police how they come in and out of the house to see. And of course, this morning it rained all day yesterday, which was amazing. But let her out first thing this morning. What does she do? Even in the wet grass. So she's extra covered. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So peeve of the week, dog rolling in the grass and bringing it in the house. Yeah.
And then having to get basically kept out of places that they like to go because they can't behave.
Well, the thing about her is too, and this is something we didn't mention, is that it seems like when we have certain days of the week we vacuum our floors because we have a dog and a cat that both sheds, and the little 3 little dogs don't really shed that much. So. But we have a lab, and we have a lousy cat that it's like, yeah, you could fluff pillows with this fur that we gather on the floors every week. So we vacuum about every other day. But it's amazing. On the days we don't vacuum, she doesn't seem to really like to roll around in the grass. It's the days right after we vacuum. And this has happened on multiple occasions. I don't even get it.
It's... like she likes it. It's weird. Yeah,
it's like she likes the floor to be clean. so she can get the grass off of her. It's crazy, but anyway. If you guys have dogs that do weird stuff like that, or you have pets that do stuff like that to you, put some, do hashtag crazy pet, whatever. Put it in the comments down below or something, or reach out to us and stuff, and we'll maybe put this on one of our podcasts and talk to
Or if you have a
everybody
tip,
about it.
your dog did it, and you figured out how to stop him.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Let us know.
Yeah, please. That would be great too. Besides, okay, don't say, well, if you got rid of the grass in your yard, you can roll around the grass. Don't say stuff like that. We already know about all the smart. I'm a smart ass white boy. I understand those kind of comments because that's what I would say. Don't waste your time. Okay, coming up, pro tip of the week. Dina's got something good for you. Better bring something to write with.
Get out your notepads. It's time for pro tip of the week.
Welcome back to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And this is pro tip of the week. Dina, what have you got in store for us?
So the biggest thing, I know I've told you guys this before, but what is normal for regular people in their regular life is not normal in mortgage / credit / finance world. It's just different. There's a whole other thing, and you can't apply normal people logic to that world. So, if you're working on, say, getting a home loan or some other kind of financing, and your loan officer asks you for a specific document, let's say a bank statement, give them the bank statement that they're asking you for. If your loan officer is competent, there is a reason that they're asking you for that particular thing. And if they say, look, I need the most recent month's bank statement, all pages, give them all pages. Even the pages that don't look like they matter, because I guarantee you, if your bank statement says 1 of 4 and you only give them 3 pages, they're going to come back to you and ask you for the missing page. Because every underwriter in the world, whether or not that page has the page with the little table so that you can balance your checkbook on it or whatever, they want that page. They want all of the pages. So like I said, it's just do it the way your mortgage person or your loan person or your finance person, whoever it happens to be, is asking you. Just give them that document, because like I said, there's a reason for it. And if it turns out that they don't need it, for instance, I'll just tell you, I over ask up front on purpose, because my goal is not to have to beat you up later for more stuff. So there's a reason that I'm asking you for a certain set of items, and you don't have to try to second guess me as much as, like I said, logic might dictate that that doesn't matter. I don't live in that world. So I live in weird rules and weird idea world, and I have to, those are the sets of rules that I have to bear up under. So like I said, that's the biggest thing is it can almost roll into a peeve, but it just, if your person asks you for certain things and you trust them and they're competent, and I'm not saying everybody is, but just go ahead and give them that thing.
Yeah, getting a mortgage is already a stressful situation anyway. So it'll make your life easier, seriously, and it'll make your mortgage officer, the person or whoever you're working with, it'll make their life easier, which in turn will make your life easier. If when they give you that list, and I know sometimes it can be tedious lists because I've had to gather that information several times, and sometimes you just go, why do you need this? Well, unfortunately, because of all of the loan fraud and everything that happened in the past, that's why we have all the extra rules now.
Multiple layers of quality control.
Right. So because of that, this is the real world that she maneuvers in, which may not make sense necessarily to you, but because of that, this is what she has to do. She has to go through. So yeah, so just some tips, documentation, all the pages, everything that's asked for. Okay. All right. Coming up. Thanks, Dina, for that. Anyway, thank you for the pro tip. Coming up, we're going to continue our story about the birth of Robin.
Woohoo.
Whoop. Stay tuned.
Shh. Quiet and listen. It's time for Marriage Story of the Week.
Welcome back to Moonshine Safari, everyone. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
Hey, Dina. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Josh. How are you?
All right. I'm just peachy fine. Hey, guess what we're picking up today with our story?
I think you said the birth of Robin.
The birth of Robin. So let's go back so many years ago. And we talked about the news. You guys, if you haven't heard the story about when I found out about the news, then you should go back to a couple podcasts ago and listen to that. We also talked about that when Dina was pregnant, that she was having some gallbladder issues, and we had to go,
to the emergency
room. And we talked about her throwing up and vomiting.
So glamorous.
Yes.
On the way.
So if you guys want to hear about that, that's also in previous podcasts, so you should go catch up on that. So now here we are. We talked about me being sick, right? And if you want to know about that, almost dying, and Dina not caring, we can go back to that podcast too. So now you're kind of caught up. Now we're caught up. It's kind of like the Deadpool movies. Now you're caught up. All right, here we go. So Dina is so pregnant.
I was very, very pregnant. I mean, Robin was not necessarily a small baby. They were telling me I was 2 weeks overdue. I actually felt pretty good, other than the gallbladder thing. As long as the gallbladder thing wasn't coming up, I felt fine.
Yeah. But when that thing would rear its head, you felt really, that was really
that was
crappy.
just bad.
Yeah, it was bad stuff. But you were so cute. And then, now you were working down at a grocery store back in the day called Mega Foods.
Mega Foods.
If you remember Mega Foods. And this one was down in Central. And, how was that working down there at Mega Foods when you were pregnant? How did that work out for you some days?
Well, I mean, the only time I ever actually completely got sick to my stomach, other than the gallbladder thing, was when I was at work. And that was because it was a big warehouse, kind of a grocery store. And it was hot. And that didn't help. And then the smell of the foods, when you're pregnant, all the pregnant ladies will understand this, but there are certain smells that you just cannot handle. And the smell of the deli, because everything was fried, grossed me out. So essentially, I would, during my shift, I would throw up one time, and then I was fine.
But you would still work, right?
But I would still work. I mean,
Dina's a trooper. You worked up until when?
I had stuff to do. Probably about a week before my due. It was really close. I was trying to work up until essentially the day.
Right. I mean, so I'm just saying there. It seems like. Anyway, sure. I'm not even gonna get into that because we get all the hate mail. We start talking about that. Anyway.
There were, but this is an area of town that we didn't live close to this area at all. But it was an area of town. There were the other businesses had bars on the windows. There was a police officer that would come in the evenings and be there for people. So it wasn't the greatest area of town.
Nope.
But nevertheless, it was a job, and
hey, you got to do what you got to do. We were
and
young, and we had bills to pay.
We had things to do.
Family starting, we got things to do, right? So we had things. You got to do what you got to do.
I would sit sometimes. I would get a little like a crate in my check stand, and I would sit if I needed to, just for a few minutes here and there. But yeah, I kept going.
And I was working overnights. So I was working overnights, 4 days on, 3 days off. So basically that screwed up my entire schedule. I would try and stay up as long as I could my first day off, and then end up sleeping in the afternoon, get 1 day truly off, and then have to go to bed early because I had to be at work the next night.
Because you're never normal, because you're
never
shifting all the time.
Never. And that's just because of my boss at the time was a dumbass about it should have been 7 on, 7 off, but he didn't want to do that anyway. So I was working overnights. So why don't you talk about leading up into them getting you started?
Well, so actually during the pregnancy, we were able to finally move out into an apartment, thanks to help from family. And it was nice actually being on our own a little bit again, and having our own space and all that stuff was awesome. And so as we're going along, I had a doctor recommended to me because of the change in jobs for Josh, I had to change insurances. And when I changed insurances, it brought about a change of doctor. And actually, Josh's sister recommended her OBGYN to me, and I went to see him, and he was hands down the best doctor I've ever had. Just an awesome doctor.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. He actually ended up delivering both of my kids and my nephew. And so I was just thrilled with him as far as that part of it goes. He was just great, super understanding, super bedside manner for a doctor, which
and good
is
with guys.
and good with the husbands too.
Really
so
good, because
awesome.
you guys out there, I mean, there was times that I walked in after getting like her checked in, and I would walk
Awkward
in, and there
moments.
would be awkward moments with a doctor, and I would, that's uncomfortable. He made everything way more comfortable.
He just brought it out,
and he was good.
He brought it up into the open. You might as well just say it. Everybody is uncomfortable.
And I don't
want to
be a downer, but unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Him and his son were in a plane crash.
Car
Oh,
accident.
I'm sorry, car accident, and
He
he's no
passed.
longer with us, and that's just a
But
great
he
loss
was an amazing doctor.
to the world. He was amazing. In fact, you said he had his Crocs bronze
They do have some
at
bronze
Chandler
Crocs
Regional?
for him. Yeah,
at Chandler Regional.
yeah.
Dr. Gordon, and just an amazing guy, and I'm very grateful to him for delivering my babies.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of women out there that would say exactly the same thing about
Yep.
their deliveries with him, because he was just awesome.
Yep.
And his staff was awesome too. I mean, like, he had a great staff under him and stuff like that. It was just, I couldn't say anything bad about that office.
Yep. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happened. So I remember that you were late. Finally got better, got out of the hospital. You were still late, and they decided we all decided to induce.
Well, he said essentially that it was not good for the baby for me to go over 2 weeks past. So at 2 weeks, they had me scheduled, and the idea was, of course, if I went into labor earlier than that, great, and my body would do it, and it would be no big deal. I never had one labor pain before they induced me with Robin. Zero. I had no contractions that I could remember. Other than, like I said, the little bit of nausea here and there for the morning sickness or the gallbladder stuff, I felt great.
Yeah.
So I walked into the hospital that morning with my makeup done, my hair up, thinking I was like on top of the world. And
Little did she know what was in store.
Had no idea, obviously. Walked out, whatever it was, got wheeled out 48 hours later looking like I got hit by a truck. So, every mother out there that remembers the births of their babies will have their war stories, and that was mine with Robin.
Yep.
It was an interesting time, the induction.
Yeah. So they gave you the stuff. I got off work. I mean, I worked
after working your
straight
whole
after
shift.
work. I worked. Went straight to the hospital. She
They
was
didn't
walking
have
around.
father's maternity leave or paternity leave or whatever they call it now.
No,
They
have that
didn't
stuff.
have that then.
Oh, got to keep working or use your vacation time if you can. So I went straight and then hung out with you. Didn't seem like things were happening. So I went back to the apartment,
Nothing
took a
was happening.
shower, came back, kind of dozed in and out of the chair as things began to get rough on
Well, essentially, they give you the Pitocin, and I was either having 0 contractions or I was having one long contraction, and they couldn't seem to find a happy medium where my body was doing what it was supposed to do without overdoing it.
Right. And then, okay, so when... I'm trying to think of the timeline here. Okay,
Well, so I think they started at like 7:30 in the morning.
No, that's when they started, right? So when did they give you the epidural? That was in the afternoon?
I feel like it was 7:30 at night.
Okay, because it was like an
It was
afternoon.
like it was about 12 hours later.
Okay.
And I was so hungry.
Because that was when I learned not to let your doctor do spinal tap. Because when I watched that anesthesiologist do an epidural on Dina and just had her like lean over and boom, went right in. I didn't see her flinch. She didn't scream like I screamed. Maybe Dina, you're just tougher than me. Maybe that's what it all
Yeah,
is.
I'm sure that's it.
So I asked
didn't
him,
know.
I said, hey, is that anything like a spinal tap? He goes, yeah, that's exactly like a spinal tap. I said, I had one and I thought I was going to die. He said, well, who did it? He said, the doctor. He goes, that's why.
Right.
He said, that's why. He goes,
said,
you
"Don't
don't
ever
ever
do
let your doctor do that. And that's valuable advice. I'm just telling you. valuable advice. Anyway, sorry.
No, I mean, I think part of it, I don't remember really per se the pain of the epidural. I remember more thinking, here comes the relief, because I was having, at that point, one long contraction. And there was no relief at all.
Right. And then, once they put that in, you got some relief for a little while.
For a while.
Until
basically they maxed me out. And there's only so much that they can give you, because it becomes dangerous after that. So they had to give me this other, I can't remember what the medication was, but it was something that's supposed to relax you between contractions. So essentially, I would fall asleep in the 10 seconds or so it was between contractions. I would literally fall asleep. And then they would wake me up when another one was coming, and then we would push again. I feel like we pushed for about 3 hours.
Seemed like a long time, but now I'm going to stop you here, because you think that I'm going to get past that thing that you did to me during the labor. See, listen to her giggle. Here we go. Here it comes. Here it comes, guys. Okay, so that thing that I was trying to comfort you, because
oh yes, and I said I don't want anyone to touch me.
you're like, I feel so helpless. You're laying there. Your hair's tangled in 40,000 different knots.
Yeah, I couldn't get a brush.
You're just like, you're exhausted. You're so pale. You're so miserable. You haven't been asleep. Nothing's going on, and then you're in pain. I'm trying to rub your shoulders back, and you're like, you don't want me to touch you. You don't want anybody to touch you. And I'm like, and I'm like, but it's me.
Okay.
But it's me.
But that's always been the case, whether or not, I remember feeling like that when I had other, pain from, say, I had some dental issues I had to take care of before and stuff like that. I didn't want anyone to touch me then either. I didn't want anyone to talk to me.
Touch you back then.
I didn't want anyone to touch me. I didn't want to touch anything.
That's different. This was a moment.
It was.
Anyway. Yeah, so she hurt my feelings. But that's okay. I got over it. Can you tell? I'm over it. Can you tell? I'm over it.
He doesn't remember it either.
I forgot all about it. Anyway, so, yeah, that was a hell of a long day. And then...
it literally was a long day, because it was 24 hours.
Then she would push, and Robin's heartbeat would get weak. And they put a monitor in her head. And so you know how that goes. They go in there, and they stick it in her little head. And Dina would put... Because Robin was trying to come face up. Well, I don't know, because she's weird. And if you knew Robin, she was kind of weird. She was coming face up, and so Dina couldn't get her head
and their
positioned.
The cord was wrapped.
And that was part of the
we
other
didn't know, of course, at the time.
We didn't know that. But... Yeah, I'm getting to that part. I'm getting to the everything is cool. Okay, so everybody's got to know. We'll kind of tell you where we are here, because if those of you who are squeamish, don't listen to this part. Okay, so she's in the delivery bed, feet up. I'm holding her right leg. Doc's in the middle, nurse is on the other side, right? So she's doing her thing, she's pushing, we're trying to figure out what's going on, why the heartbeat keeps going down every time she pushes. So then he goes, well, can we try the suction cup? I'm like,
try anything.
Yeah,
Get her out.
Dina's ready for this to be over. I'm like, sure, why not? So he tries, and no dice. And then he says, what about the forceps, the salad spoons? I'm like, yeah, well, okay. And he tells me, he goes, you be careful. And so he puts those in, and he starts to pull her out, and she's face up, and she's blue, and immediately you could see the cord was wrapped around her neck. It happened in a split of a second. I'm standing there, I'm watching everything that's going on. All I see him do is push Leah back in, took scissors. This was the part that I almost lost it. Everything else was fine. There was blood, there was other stuff, and stuff comes out. You know how that works. But this, when he took the scissors, and just look up the word episiotomy. I won't describe that. You look it up, okay? And that was about it.
I felt nothing, because I was numb there.
I felt it for you. I felt it right there. And I almost went down on my knees. But then he pulled her back out. I see these big fat cheeks, and she just spit stuff everywhere. And he handed her football quick right off to the nurse.
He did not let you cut the cord.
He couldn't.
He couldn't, right?
couldn't.
Because he had to cut it
No,
fast.
no, he had to cut it fast and get it out from around her neck and everything, and so it was immediate. And then he gives her off to the nurses, takes her over to the little area where they work on her because she wasn't crying and she was blue. And so Doc says, "Why don't you go over there and look at her? I'm going to take care of your wife because he's going to clean up the mess he made." Anyway, so I get over there and I'm not hearing anything, and I'm looking at Dana and she's kind of looking at me, and then you hear this, the most pitiful weak tiny little squeak of a cry.
Yeah.
And that was it. Oh, I looked at Dana, she looked at me, we're like, "Blah!" We're crying.
Well, and we're exhausted too. We're exhausted,
Dina way more than me, but I'm
this
exhausted.
drama.
I was just like, I was scared. I was scared for her. I was scared for the baby. But then everything was okay except Robin had sloshy head because of the suction. She had a big hickey.
The forceps.
She had a big hickey on her head and sloshy brain. So they had to put that little hat on her. And then she had bruises around her chin from the forceps. But other than that, everything was okay. And that was, it was just dumb. But everybody was okay. It was
when she was here, she was perfect. And
it was good.
I remember the first time just smelling her and thinking even her breath smelled sweet.
Yep.
And moms will, and fathers, moms and dads will understand that, especially the first time they hold their baby.
Oh yeah.
So
you could probably hear it in our voices. I'm reliving it when I was telling the story. I'm reliving it because it's like I could still see it like it was yesterday. I know everything. I know how it smelled. I know how it felt. I know everything about it.
Yep.
Same with when Del Toro was. We'll talk about that later too. But yeah, it's the same. It's the exact same. But all right, I think that's a good place to end. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Hey, hang tight. We have got some good things to tell you about the Moonshine Safari recipes. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Get out your glasses. It's time for the Moonshine Safari drinks and recipes.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Moonshine Safari. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And you've stumbled across the Moonshine Safari part of our podcast where we talk about drinks and recipes. Hey, Dina, what do you do when life gives you lemons?
You make lemon moonshine.
There you go. That's the most perfect answer anybody could ever give. Not lemonade. You make lemon moonshine. You know what we did? We made some of our own Moonshine Safari lemon shine. You know how we did it? I'll give you a hint. I'm not going to give you the exact recipe. If you want an exact recipe, then you're going to have to listen. You may have to go to the Patreon page and check it out. We took some Old Smoky White Lightning. We took some Simply Lemonade and some lemon drops. Use your imagination on how we did it, and then you have a beautiful, wonderful lemon shine.
And it's very lemony and very tasty.
Oh, so very good. So very good. But if you would like to know the recipe, contact us. Do hashtag Moonshine Safari recipe, and maybe we will divulge it to you. Wouldn't you like to know? Hey, we want to thank you so much for tuning in today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all that you are and doing for us. If you're doing anything, if you're not doing anything, then that's okay.
But still,
you can hang around.
Be part of our little
You could
group.
be a vagabond. You could be a bump. No, I'm just kidding. We hope you enjoy the show. We're doing it. We enjoy doing it. We hope you enjoy listening. Thank you so much. And tune in next week, and we'll be talking about more fun stuff. Maybe our first house. Maybe some other interesting things when Dina was on the TV and on the Lisa Show. Do you remember the Lisa Show?
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago.
Oh my gosh. Next time. Bye.
Hey y'all, welcome to Moonshine Safari. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as well as check the description for information on our social media sites, as well as our Patreon account to help support our adventures in the Moonshine Wilderness.